Let's talk about Nepal. It has already lost India, a time-tested ally, in trying to please China. And if this wasn't enough, Nepal is now trying to copy China in the worst ways. Nepal has decided to ban the Indian media. As I speak, Kathmandu is in the process of taking Indian news channels off air. Nepal's Information and Broadcasting Ministry says this is not an official decision. But foreign TV channel distributors and multi-system operators, cable operators you could say, have decided to ban all Indian news channels in Nepal. One exception has been made, the state broadcaster of India, Doordarshan. It's very hard to buy the Nepal government's line here. Would MSOs and distributors act in this manner without being nudged by the government? And why would they? Indian channels have a huge viewership in Nepal. Why would distributors want a ban? Kathmandu insists, though, this is not a government decision. It says the government will only consider political and diplomatic options to curb the quote-unquote disinformation being spread by the Indian media. What is Nepal's definition of disinformation? Criticism of their Prime Minister. The Indian media is being blocked for quote-unquote insulting Prime Minister Oli. What has the Indian media done? This is what it has reported. How Oli used territorial nationalism to fix his country's map. How he overplayed the anti-China card to garner sympathies. How he banged on Beijing to survive a rebellion. And how he accused his party colleagues of conspiring with a foreign power. Comrade Oli has tried many things to cover up his incompetence, and we've reported all of them. And we can tell you that none of his tricks has worked. He still stands to lose his chair, but the 68-year-old Oli is fighting back, and how? He has come up with another bright idea. The idea of imposing an emergency. Comrade Oli wants to declare a health emergency in Nepal. He wants troops to be deployed to deal with the virus from Wuhan. Reports say Comrade Oli has been discussing the implementation of a health emergency with the President of Nepal, Bidya Devi Bhandari. His latest bid to get some respite from the growing criticism, but nobody is in favor of this plan. The President of Nepal is not on board, neither is the Nepalese army. They do not want an emergency at the time of a political crisis. The army is not in favor of deploying troops. The President wants Comrade Oli to settle the party disputes first. Well, he's trying, not with much success though. Earlier in the day, we got reports that Oli was going to meet his party's co-chairman, Pushp Kamal Dahal, better known as Prachand. The second meeting in 24 hours to resolve differences. No word on whether the meeting happened. The Prime Minister is running out of time. The Standing Committee of Nepal, the Nepal Communist Party, the ruling party, will meet on Friday. This is a meeting to pass a resolution to oust Oli from the Prime Minister's office and from the party leadership. And reports say that Oli will be made to compromise at least on one of these two positions. At least 30 out of 44 standing committee members are against him. If they manage to pass such a resolution, it will go to the party's central committee, where Oli's chances are again very limited. His supporters are in minority in the central committee. At a time like this, one cannot but recall 2017. The year Oli emerged victorious from one of Nepal's most divisive elections. There were clashes, there were killings, there was civil unrest. Comrade Oli was seen as the unifying force. From Maoists and Royalists to Nepal's elite and lawmakers with Indian ancestry, everybody trusted Oli to lead a quote-unquote rainbow coalition of parties in Nepal. It's been almost 4 years. Nepal is back to square one. In fact, it has never been this divided. Oli's poor pandemic response has angered Nepal's youth. His anti-India rhetoric has split the civil society, and his surrender to China and its embassy have disappointed his own party. Prime Minister Oli may manage to keep his chair, but he'll be sitting like Damocles with a sword hanging over his head.